Welcome to Inside Sim Racing. I'm John Sable, and today we're reviewing the BenQ XR3501 monitor. And some of you may remember that we already tested the monitor in triples, but a lot of you asked what it's like to drive in single screen mode, so we're going to try to answer those questions today. And the two primary questions were, is this a good single screen option? And secondly, can it replace a triple screen setup? But before we answer those two questions, let's go over a few key specs. The XR3501 is 35-inch ultra-wide monitor. It has a 21:9 aspect ratio, 2560 by 1080 resolution, a large 2000 R curve, 144 Hz refresh rate, an AMVA panel, and is VESA mountable. So let's get to our first question, and that was, is it a good single screen option? And I have to say, absolutely. In fact, I think this might be one of the best single screen options out there today because it ticks almost all the boxes. It's a large monitor, which is nice when you're only on a single screen, plus it helps when you're trying to get that 1-to-1 field of view ratio to a real world car. It's ultra smooth at 144 Hz. Because it's an ultra-wide, you're able to see a lot more of the action around you. The big curve is also nice and noticeable, and it has great color with the AMVA panel. The only feature that the XR3501 really lacks is being G-Sync or FreeSync compatible. And honestly, I don't think this is too big of a deal in single screen form, since any decent graphics card should be able to run it at good frame rates, making FreeSync and G-Sync less of a loss. Plus, we've never seen any tearing thanks to the 144 Hz, even at sub 80 frames per second. And like in our triples review, we're still not feeling any pixel density envy. Even though 2560 by 1080 isn't leading the way in terms of pixels, and it would be nice to have a little bit more in desktop mode, for gaming, more pixels aren't noticeable besides having lower frame rates. Plus, many of the higher pixel density monitors out there today only give you 60 Hz, and that's just not cool. So on to our second question, and that was, is the XR3501 a triple screen replacement? And the answer to that is yes and no. Triples accomplish four things. They allow you to see your cockpit mirrors, the opponents around you, give you a sense of speed, and greater immersion. Now, it's impossible for a single screen to replicate all these features, but there is one that it can, and that is being able to use the cockpit mirrors. I do not like running the virtual mirror. For me, it breaks immersion, and I also find it very distracting. Not being able to use the cockpit mirrors is the one thing I cannot sacrifice. With that said, the XR3501 does allow you to see the cockpit mirrors on some cars while maintaining the optimum field of view. The extra 640 horizontal pixels of the ultrawide makes a significant difference compared to traditional 1920 by 1080. As you can see quite a bit more, not only capturing your mirror, but your opponents and your apexes sooner. On top of that, while no titles support curved screens in terms of giving you extra field of view, something that hopefully changes, it does create more of the rat feel of triples. On the other hand, there were cars where the extra monitor real estate still wasn't able to allow you to see the cockpit mirrors. This forced you to either back your view up or run the virtual mirror, which both break immersion. So, should you buy the single XR3501 monitor over triples? Well, it depends on your situation. First, what cars do you like to drive? Do your go-to cars have mirrors mounted close to the body, or way out of view that requires you to have triples to be able to see them? How much space do you have at home? Triples take up a lot of space, and the XR3501 is a fantastic option to get more screen real estate without taking up floor space. Your budget is also a big determining factor. Going to triples isn't inexpensive. I wouldn't buy anything today under 27 inches because that's about the right size to get the perfect field of view. Also, I wouldn't buy anything under 144 Hz because the smoothness is spectacular, and going back to 60 isn't an option after you've done 144. Also, if I had my way, I prefer an IPS panel over the TN panel thanks to its color accuracy and viewing angles. To hit those three criteria though, you're looking at about $700 plus per monitor. Plus you have to purchase a triple monitor stand or at least extensions for your rig, and maybe a more powerful graphics card as part of the trickle-down effect of having more pixels. While the XR3501 certainly isn't cheap at $900 retail, and I've even seen it go for a little bit more online, it does start to look better compared to the investment needed for a quality triple setup. With that said, if you have the money to swing for a quality triple screen setup, so a 27-inch 16:9 minimum and at least 144 Hertz, then I would say go for that option. So that's a wrap on our single monitor review of the BenQ XR3501 monitor. We'd like to thank BenQ again for sending us this monitor, well, all three of them, and have to say 3 months later, still very smitten by then. As always, if you enjoy this review, please hit the like button and subscribe if you aren't, and come visit us at our website isrtv.com for the latest news, reviews, and visit our active forums, including the fan favorite buy and sell section. So for John Sable, thanks for watching Inside Sim Racing. See you next time.